Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time on this Monday, December the 1st. Happy December to all of you out there. It means that we're in the home stretch, right? We've got 5 games remaining for this Tennessee Titans season. 5 games, not a lot. If Greg Cosell were here, he'd be like, well, it's only week 13. What's your problem? And I would say, no, Greg, it's week 75. It feels like this season is taking 1,000 years off of all of our collective lives. But it doesn't matter if it wears me down. It doesn't matter if it wears Mike McCoy down or Robert or you. It doesn't really matter that anybody else experiences this in any way. But okay, just get to the finish line, get me to the draft and free agency and a coaching hire. And then I can start to reinvest in this football team in a meaningful way. Because this is likely going to end up as the worst Titans team in the history of the franchise. And it would be very easy to understand how anybody could divorce themselves from this shit show that's on a week in, week out basis. But what I will tell you is that there is concern about Cam Ward. I don't have many red flags around Cam. And it's not even really a Cam red flag. But it's the fact that Cam Ward responded to a question in a certain kind of way that gives me red flags about a red flag organization in the Tennessee Titans and how they could potentially be wearing on him. Like I said, doesn't matter if we're tired, if you're tired, if the coaches are tired or any of that. If Cam starts to get physically, mentally, emotionally, or all of the above beat down by playing for this organization, and it has an adverse effect on him, that is a huge problem. And he gave at least some voice to that, responding to a question last night. We played it for you yesterday. If you were hanging out with us on Primetime, if you didn't get the opportunity to hear from him, you will hear from him momentarily. We will get to what Bert has at the end of the show. Apparently, there is a conversation to be had about punters and death threats with all of this stuff. So we'll look forward to all of that together. Lisa Braden says, Buck, where did you get your Sad Boy radio hat from? I got them from a local company in town that was making them for us last year when Sad Boy Radio came into existence, called Rowdy Lou. They are, I don't know if she's taking them on a case-by-case order. They may still have the link on her website. Rowdy Lou, ROWDYLOU is the name of the company. Sarah Jameson, she does a great job. She's from Murfreesboro, and she made a bunch of these Sad Boy hats that we sold for charity last year. So you can see if they're still available on the website. I did not ask Sarah to commit to another year of making these, nor did I think that they would be as bad as they are this year. But here we go. So let's dive into this together. Calvin says Cam Ward will be okay. He just needs help, man. Yeah, I agree. But he's not going to get it in the next 5 weeks, right? He's kind of shit out of luck and has been shit out of luck for the next couple of weeks. That can have an adverse effect. And that's the thing that we're going to talk about tonight, because whether or not he does get the help, Andrew Luck, God help, it ended up being too late for Andrew Luck. And that's a different thing. That's a physical thing. Cam Ward has not at least copped to dealing with a level of injury here, but there are reasons to be concerned about how this thing might play out. So we will hear from Cam Ward, and we will see if this is something that is concerning to you as it is to me. Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time from the T-Dot Studios, where the Tennessee Department of Transportation reminds you that nobody trashes Tennessee. Be a part of the solution to end littering at nobodytrashestn.com. Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer. I was out there on Friday afternoon. Got my vehicle serviced. I'm getting new tires from Two Rivers Ford. Sugar, my 2022 Ford Explorer, is in need of some new wheels, so we're going to do exactly that. And Two Rivers Ford always finds you affordable, cost-effective options that make the most sense for you. TrueMav Fitness, where you go for both a quality workout and an affordable workout. We're in the midst of the holiday season. You can keep your fitness goals on track at TrueMavFitness.com. Your first workout is free. And of course, Simon Says, the premier clothing spot in Nashville, premier men's clothing spot in Nashville is Simon Says. They will get you decked out for the holiday season, and they will do so at 40% off right now. SimonSaysNashville.com. Go check them out. Okay, so Cam Ward had a bad day yesterday, and to be honest, we don't know how the results of these games are going to play out before we see how the games play out. But when we were talking about this on the pregame show, we do a 2-hour pregame show. It's me, Blaine Bishop, and Zach Lyons. More often than not, sometimes Brent Doherty hosts it too. But for the most part, it's me, Blaine, and Zach. And so we're sitting out there for 2 hours pregame before Titans Countdown takes over and then the game. So, we're talking about a 1-10 football team getting ready to go 1-11, and Zach Lyons is steadfast. And I could understand the logic. He was convinced that the Titans would beat the Jaguars on that day, Titans money line, that the Titans wouldn't be able to stop the run, which is the thing that the Jags do best as an offense, but that they would not only cover, that they would win for the first time. And I think how many games have they lost since Arizona? Arizona was week 5. So, yeah, they've lost a considerable amount going back to week 5, which is a game that they got away with. And, we don't have to relitigate the Cardinals win. But I thought about it, and I really thought about it all weekend. For some reason, I was thinking about this game all weekend. I'm like, I could see a world in which they win. I could almost talk myself into the idea that they could win a football game, potentially. It's possible. They've shown progress against teams that are better than the Jaguars. So why couldn't they put up a fight against the Jaguars, right? And then I got to the pregame show, and I'm looking around, and I know what this thing is at its core, right? It's rotten. It's just rotten. It's failed. It's decrepit. It's poorly run. They're still just the Titans, right? And so I don't, when I say that way, I'm sure as a Titans fan, you're like, hey man, like, what do you want? What do you want me to do about it? I'm just a Titans fan. I'm just here because this is the team that I grew up rooting for, that for whatever reason I became a fan of at some point in time. And they have had great success, right? At various points in their franchise's history. They haven't been dog shit the entire time. But right now they are. They are all of those things that I just described. When we got up on a pregame show and we got the pregame show started, the more we talked about it, I'm like, no, I don't trust them. I don't trust them at all. And in fact, there's 2 ways that this could go. 1, they could continue to show progress and they could win. 2 is that they're due for a shitty game. They haven't had one in a while, and today feels like the opportunity. Just, nothing analytical behind it, but just in my chest, I felt the idea of no, they're not ready to show that kind of linear progress for what would essentially be 4 straight weeks. They're not capable of doing this. I don't believe that they can do it. And whatever, like, I could have been just as easily proven wrong as I was proven right, but I feel like more times than not, like, I feel like I got a pretty good read on them at this point in time, on the people that run them, on the roster, on the players, on the coaching staff that's left. Like, I feel like I got a pretty good gauge on them, and that they're not capable. They're not capable. So then there's Cam in the middle of all this, and Cam plays a poor game. It's one of his worst games that he's had this season. It's one of these games that, almost as bad as the Vegas game where they struggle. Where they come out actually in the opening drive, and I'm like, all right, maybe I'm going to have to eat shit today. Maybe I'm going to be proven wrong about my gut feeling about them, where they rattle off a 70-yard drive. They get points. They don't get a touchdown. They still don't have an opening drive touchdown. They're the only team in the sport this season to not be able to do that. But they get a field goal, and I say, okay. Like, Mike McCoy doesn't go for it on 4th and 3. Cam Ward wants to. They don't. They kick the field goal. Okay. And then, the situation turns the way that it does. Things snowball. The Jags are up 15-3 all of a sudden, and you're just like, all right, this shit's over. Just keep it moving at this point in time. So then we get to the press conference, the post-game press conference. It goes, as you know, Mike McCoy, open locker room, then Cam Ward at the podium. And so we finally get around to Cam at the end of the evening. And we get through most of Cam Ward's press conference, and he's asked a handful of questions about why it was such a struggle today. And finally, we get further into the press conference, and he's asked a question about why these things keep happening, all of the same things. Basically, we're talking about the same thing in some form or fashion each and every week. What are you identifying that causes this to be so frequent, to be such a recurring problem for this team that they just can't, for the life of themselves, pull out of it? So I'm going to ask you this question before I play you this clip, and you may know the question and answer that I'm referring to. But Cam Ward here is asked about this season causing him to lose, at least to some degree, his love for playing football. And I want to ask you, not knowing, maybe you don't know what Cam Ward's response is just yet. I want to ask you, scale of 1 to 10, how concerned are you about Cam Ward right now as we sit here today, 1-11, seeing what he's got, seeing that he only has so much left to do this season before it finally mercifully gets old Yellard behind the shed and put down out of its misery, but that we still have 5 more games to go. He's still the most sacked quarterback in football, and they have no prospect of losing anytime soon. I don't think they'll beat the Browns. I don't think they'll beat the Saints. Concern for Cam Ward, scale of 1 to 10, in the comment section. Let me know what your level of concern is. And it's not, I think there's an important clarification that Ann points out. She says, concern for Cam, 1. Concern for the Titans, 9 million. So I guess let me clarify, or let me clean it up this way. How concerned, scale of 1 to 10, are you about Cam Ward playing for the Titans? Because the Titans are the problem, right? Organizationally, they are a problem. They are all of the things that I described. And they, because they are such a problem and have so many problems that they have not yet solved, that trickles down to Cam Ward. So what is your scale of concern, 1 to 10, about Cam Ward being impacted by the Titans this way? Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch is where you can chime in if you would like to. We'll hear from Cam Ward here in just a second, right after I remind you that the Primetime program made possible by your Two Rivers Ford by Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer, where they are currently running their holiday year-end sales event. Go out to Mount Juliet, just go see what they've got on the lot. It's one of the largest selections of quality American-made Ford vehicles that you will find anywhere in the state of Tennessee. They are a locally owned business. The Barker family has been doing it for over 4 decades at Two Rivers Ford. They have millions upon millions of happy Middle Tennesseans served at Two Rivers Ford. Their standard is excellence, and they have upheld that for over 4 decades, as I mentioned. Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet, or online at tworiversford.com for more details. Okay. So I see a couple of comments here, but there's one that pops to me, and I not just because I disagree with it, but because I think it requires some additional context. One from Major Keys, he says, Buck, a lot of fans believe the Titans aren't the problem. Unfortunately, I'm here to tell you they are. I mean, that's not just the decade that I've spent around this organization, and I've seen the way that they've run it into the ground themselves. It's far more their fault than it is the players' fault. People can cite the roster, continue to cite the roster. We are 4 years removed from John Robinson. And I know Ran Carthon didn't cover himself in glory during his year and a half here, essentially. I guess he got 2 full seasons, technically, 2 drafts at minimum. But still, like, Ran Carthon didn't do much. I might argue that Mike Borgonzi hasn't done nearly enough. They are the worst Titans team in history so far. They are on track to be the worst Titans team in history so far. Mike Borgonzi is absolutely a part of that. Even though he got here in January, he's not clean of all this, right? I don't think that, just because you're optimistic and hopeful, and you should be, because I think, there's reason to believe that that person is the most competent of anybody that they've hired in the last, I don't know, God knows, since they hired Mike Vrabel and John Robinson. There's reason to believe that that person is capable of doing a good job, but are they going to let him do a good job? I don't trust the people above him at all. Not even a little bit. Not even remotely, to let him do the job the way that it needs to be done. Nor do I trust them to let the coach, whoever the next coach is, do the job the way that it needs to be done, because they've meddled too many times for me to trust them. Now, this time could be different, of course, but until it is, I'm not going to give them the benefit of the doubt, nor should you. So you don't have to believe me if you're a Titans fan who just is convinced that the Titans aren't the problem, but the Titans are the biggest problem in all of this by a mile. They are the common denominator here. And which it takes me to my next comment that caught my attention, which is it just Splee or SP Lee? However it is. He says, I'm halfway home to Cam being a bust. Okay, well, you're entitled to that opinion. I think it's entirely too soon to label anybody a bust. Hell, Treylon Burks is labeled a bust. Treylon Burks made the catch of the year in the NFL last night on Sunday Night Football. I know they lost, but Treylon Burks has as many touchdowns for the Commanders as he did for the Titans. Is Treylon Burks a bust yet? I probably wouldn't rule him out yet. He's only 4 years into his career. He could have a long and productive career. He could go on to do great things. He could go on to excel. Plenty of people benefit from a change of scenery, and there is a large percentage that seem to do better after they leave this place in particular. But this on Cam, it's not just that I disagree with calling him a bust before he's played, I'd argue, 3 meaningful seasons. It's the idea that he's the problem. I'd call the Titans a bust. I would say the Titans are a perpetual bust. View it through that prism. View it through the organization who's not setting these players up for success. You can be down on the players, and I'm not saying the players are faultless here. There are plenty of players who have been drafted who haven't panned out, who haven't lived up to their potential, who haven't worked as hard as you wish they would have, or been as healthy as you wish they would have. Those things, of course, happen. I'm not ignorant to that fact. But by percentage, I would blame the Titans far more for these players not panning out than I would the players. I think that they are bad at this, and that when the players get here, some things to a lot of players here recently, bad things tend to happen to them. So I'm not calling Cam Ward a bust before I call the Tennessee Titans organization a bust. I can't even remotely, justify what they've done here. And I like this comment from Bustin' Diamond too, because I agree with it. He says, all it takes is one good season to turn this around for all of you. He's talking about Titans fans to be calling Amy Team Mom again. True, for sure. You shouldn't have to care about Burt Nihil or who else, business-wise, that is Chad Brinker or any of the underlings beneath them on the business side of your football team. You shouldn't have to care about that. At the end of the day, you just want a winning product, and you don't care for the most part, as long as it's done within mostly legal bounds. You don't care how it gets there. And I would agree with you, but it doesn't. I guess my question to you would be, yes, it can fix all of this optically. It can fix all of this. You can go on to not caring about team presidents or presidents of football operations or assistant general managers or senior football personnel people or all these other people that you've had to nitpick that you don't really see what they do. You don't get to see them interact. They don't have to speak publicly and all these different things, right? It doesn't mean that the bad people or the people that are bad, let me not say bad people, but the people who are bad at their jobs go away, which is inherently a problem. It just kind of brushes that stuff under the rug. Doesn't mean that the Titans are a well-run organization. Just because the Texans got it right with C.J. Stroud and D'Amico Ryans doesn't make the Texans a good organization. But that does make the dialogue around them a lot easier because, okay, they're good enough. They're winning enough football games. I don't have to care about all this other shit. Just win, baby. Make the playoffs. And we can talk about whether or not they did enough with the offensive line situation after the fact. I caution you to say, I get that you just want to put all the other stuff behind you and you just want to focus on winning football games or trying to win football games. But at the end of the day, I still don't think that should let the people who wrecked this thing off the hook because many of those people will still be there if this thing should turn around. And if it doesn't, those people will be fired. And we can talk about the next crop of executives who may or may not do their jobs well at a reasonable level. And hopefully they don't impact the football team as much as this round has at this point in time. Okay, so I think that as you look at all the different things that you have on the table, Cam Ward, scale of 1 to 10, what is your concern about him playing for this organization? I would say it's a 10. I am overwhelmingly concerned. I am panic button concerned about them ruining him. And maybe it's too soon for that kind of conversation to be had. That's fine. But they are a red flag as an organization. They have a promising young quarterback who's at least showing some signs of wear and fatigue and just general unhappiness with the way that this situation is planned out. And I would hate for them to do to him what the Lions did to Kelvin Johnson and Barry Sanders or other bad organizations have done to good players. Joe Thomas and the Browns is a bad example because I don't think Joe Thomas regrets any of it at this point in time. But I look at the Titans and I would say, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm a 10. I am genuinely worried that they are going to screw him up at this point in time. And it's just given slight voice to Cam Ward's not taking anybody out here. But the way that he answers this question is enough for me to sound the alarm about, all right, this guy needs help, and he needs help fast. And I don't think that just saying, all right, he'll get to the end of the season, he'll be fine. I don't think that is a good scenario at this point in time.
Guys, things that keep happening. Why do you feel like that does keep happening? Because of self-inflicted stuff.
That's a good question. I don't know why it keep happening. But the only thing that we can do is continue to harp on it until it doesn't happen. We got to continue to emphasize it, and we just gotta, continue to pour into one each other. Because at the end of the day, it's only gonna be us in that locker room. It's the only people who can physically go out there and make plays to win the game. And we just gotta, try to do that for the last couple of weeks.
It seems like you guys settled for a lot of short passes, short of the sticks and things like that. Did they take the deeper chunk plays away, or just didn't have time to get it off? What was behind that?
A lot goes into it. Progression-wise, whether if the short throws the first read or not. There sometimes could be me having to move to the pocket and getting off a read. Then it could be just sometimes where it's scramble drill and that's where I throw the ball. So really a lot goes into it. I just think we just got to continue to try to be more explosive. We got to find a way to get explosive plays and, just try to go from there.
On the first drive, Cam, did you try to make a case for going for it there on the 4th and 3 at the goal line there?
Yeah, we need to go for it, I believe. What do we have to lose?
Did you kind of make that point clear to Coach? Did you guys talk about it?
Oh, I talk about it really all the time. He knows my mindset as a quarterback. I want to go for it every chance, especially now with the, just what our record displays. And we just got to continue to be the aggressive team.
What did you say to Xavier before he got carded off, and how much you hate seeing him go off that way?
Just God's got him. He has a plan for all of us. And losing him, he's a real, key piece. Not just him being elevated, but just to the team, the energy he brings every day. And that's sad, to see that, when your homeboys to go out like that. But you see the guys who came over there and held them up. You see the guys, just on the knee, on the sideline, praying for him. So, we're going to all continue to rally each other, but that's something that you never want to see.
What do you think led into the after the play stuff today? Some of the special teams scrubs and then Arden's thing on the sideline. What do you think led into that?
Players being themselves. That's what we want. I support it. If they do it on the field, with the, late penalties, but, we got to be able to offensively to back them up and overcome those penalties. So at the end of the day, I'm always support my teammates. If that's how they feel in the moment, I'm going to be with them.
Thanks. In terms of the self-inflicted wounds continuing that you've mentioned, do you think there's anything the team or you specifically could do that is not being done internally or behind the scenes, a different way to address guys, or I don't know, if you speak up or hold some kind of meeting and address the players in a certain way?
No, I think no meeting or, could address that situation. It has to only be addressed on the field, and it's something that, starts in practice. It's something that we got to emphasize in practice. But, it's just unacceptable to be in the NFL and continue to, have these bad plays, from just all of us as a whole. And that's why, our record is what it is. But on the bright side, there's really nothing, that can get worse. We just got to continue to be better each and every day and continue to pull each other along, try to get wins.
You're the most sacked quarterback in the league right now. How much is that starting to wear on you, maybe physically or mentally?
I live the life of a quarterback. I play the next play. I live the next day. I like to live my life one day at a time. So how I'm feeling, it really, doesn't bother me. Someone in the world has it a lot worse, than I have. So that's just how I put it in perspective. I'm very blessed. God's blessed me with the ability to do what I love for a living. Not a lot of people get the chance to say that. He's given me the ability to, play football. So, every time, whether I'm hurt, whether I'm sore, whether I'm healthy, I just try to, go play through him, play for my teammates as well.
Do you feel like all of the things that you're going through, do you feel like it's testing your strength, your faith, your love for football, your ability to keep going?
Oh, for sure. It's for sure testing it. But, to win, you got to lose. So, at the end of the day, just continue to get better. Try not to make the same mistakes each and every day. But, eventually the storm going to end. And, all of us in the locker room will remember all this moment. We'll remember the guys who's on the team this year. And, we'll be excited for the future.
So he's got the right attitude. I'm not worried about him. I'm worried about them failing him. And that's kind of my big takeaway here. A to Z Sports Primetime is made possible by the folks at TDOT. Nobody Trashes Tennessee, and the Tennessee Department of Transportation reminds you that you can be a part of the solution to end littering. TDOT is available for you for all of your volunteer opportunities and for you to start your own volunteer opportunities so you can make a difference. NobodyTrashesTN.com. And by True Math Fitness in the Gulch, your first workout is free as a Middle Tennessee resident. No workout ever recycled or repeated. TrueMathFitness.com for more details today. I am a 10. I am a scale of 10. I am concerned about where they are taking him and how much worse it could get, and that it's not going to get better anytime soon. I don't think they're going to be a winning football team in 2026. They would need an active football god to turn this thing around. Bustin says it's testing it, not taking it away. No, I didn't say it was taking it away, but that's where it starts. It doesn't just happen all of a sudden. You wake up one day and you're like, oh, I don't love football anymore. I no longer like this thing anymore. Andrew Luck, right? Andrew Luck is the most recent example that I can think of like a meaningful player who went through this. And Luck was the number 1 overall pick in his draft, right? It was Luck first and then RG3 second, if I remember correctly. So Luck was a physical thing, right? Cam Ward is getting hit at a rate. It'd be worth looking up Andrew Luck's sack statistics his first few years and how Cam tracks with that, because I have to imagine that Cam is getting hit at as frequent of a rate as Andrew Luck was at the time, and Cam Ward is far less physically durable than what you have in Andrew Luck, who's a physically superior player. Andrew Luck didn't wake up all of a sudden one day and said, yeah, it doesn't matter as much as my physical well-being, my mental well-being anymore. That was a gradual progression. And Andrew Luck is a very, very specific situation, but that doesn't mean it can't happen to other players. Now other players can try and gut through it, and it can make them worse as a result. But I can't possibly feel good if I'm a Titans fan about them handling him. They don't deserve trust until they earn trust. And I hope that it's not at the expense of Cam Ward this way. Anyway, as you look at all the different things that you have at this point in time, it's almost over, but this week is a real problem. This week is a huge problem because Myles Garrett, who is 4 sacks away from breaking the NFL single sack record, he could very well do it in this game. In fact, I would expect him to. I think I would set the over-under at 5.5 for Myles Garrett against the Titans, especially if J.C. Latham is going to look as lackadaisical as he did, or Kevin Zeitler is going to get pushed over by Andrew Wingard, or all of these other disappointing offensive linemen that the Titans have put into place and added things. And adds that Cam has been sacked 7 more times than Andrew Luck his rookie season, and this season isn't over. Yeah, and they haven't played Myles Garrett yet. Myles Garrett is going to eat their lunch on Sunday in the snow, in the cold. You want to talk about breaking somebody physically, mentally, and emotionally. This game is going to be telling. If Cam Ward gets through this unscathed, he's a hell of a lot tougher than even I could have imagined. I think he's a tough son of a bitch. So we'll see how it goes. All right. Robert has, and in case you missed it, that we will get to here momentarily, we'll look forward to Bert. I feel like we haven't done this segment for a while. So we'll see what he has on tap right after I remind you that the Primetime Show is made possible by Simon Says Nashville, the premier men's clothing spot in Nashville. You want to look good for the holidays, if you're going to Christmas parties, if you're attending family gatherings, if you're going to whatever your religious denomination might be, if you celebrate Christmas or Hanukkah or any of these other holiday season type of events, you want to look your best, you want to impress, you want to go to Simon Says Nashville, and you can do so at a cost-effective rate, because right now a lot of their offerings are 40% off when you go visit them at their store in Wedgwood, Houston. SimonSaysNashville.com for more details. All right, Robert, what do you got?
With so much strife and fighting and arguing going on in football, I thought we should all come together and decide what is actually okay to say on the football field, because this year it hasn't just been a war of words. It's been a war of Haktuas. It's been a war of nut shots. It's been a war of attrition. And a lot of people are trying to figure out what are you really allowed to say?
Mhm.
What are you really allowed to do? And that's what I'm here to figure out. Because when you talk to Ben Jones, or you talk to Ramon, or you talk to anyone who played in the NFL, it always seems like there's a whole lot of, I'll kill your fucking family. Okay. Oh, shit. I didn't mean to do, but you know what I mean? You know what I mean? There's a whole lot of that where I think guys just kind of shuck it off, where it's like, oh, yeah, well, I'll kill your family, buddy. See you next snap. But is that really the case? Are we really allowed to just say, hey, I'll find you at your home and kill you. I'll get in and grab your wife and strangle her. Like, what are you really allowed to say? Something came out this weekend that made me question that. And it wasn't Cook, the Jaguars punter, telling Julius Chestnut, I'll kill you dead. It wasn't that. It was Shelby Harris, defensive tackle for the Browns. Browns took on the 49ers. They were unsuccessful in getting Shedeur his second win of the season. But Shelby Harris had this to say about San Francisco 49er wide receiver and former Volunteer, Juwan Jennings.
He's a hoe, and I want that known. Like, I see why he got punched in the nuts, because that's some, like, he says some things that you should not say to another man ever. But, like, I don't respect it because you say that, then run behind your O-line. That's some real soft shit, and I want that known. I see exactly why they punched in the nuts. I'm surprised nobody punched him in the jaw yet.
Just the beginning, Shelby, once more.
He's a hoe, and I want.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You let it play out. He's a hoe, and I want that known.
He's a hoe, and I want that known. Like,
What did he say? What could have possibly came out of Juwan Jennings' mouth and said, you never say that to another man? Like,
Juwan Jennings is famous for stomping on a Vanderbilt player before his NFL career began. So God only knows what Juwan said.
What? Ho, by the way, is getting a lot of, we didn't talk about this on the show today, but Lane Kiffin, someone that covers the Ole Miss beat, I don't really know this kid's name, but said that you can't turn a hoe into a housewife. And Lane took issue with that. Found dude on the sideline and was like, hey, I don't appreciate that. And old dude stood there like a little bitch, like, I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't say that. And now everyone's like, he stood his ground. No, you didn't. You look like a weenie. But now Lane Kiffin is sharing
Is that how people were talking about me with the Jeff thing? I saw some stand your ground, and I saw some you're a weenie.
I don't think. See, Lane's a little bit different case than Jeff. Like Jeff is like if a gorilla got loose at the zoo, like he would do you like Hulk did Loki in that movie where he's like wham, 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 slamming everybody back and forth. Lane, what's Lane gonna do? You're gonna whoop my ass? Lane, like, okay, you're gonna have to, buddy. Like, if we're gonna scrap, let's scrap. Let's get it over with because I'll get paid just from you stomping me out on the Ole Miss. So I
agree with Esco, by the way, who says the new ending to the show. He's a hoe, and I want that
known. Well, two things I know about hoes: one, they need to be known, and two, they do not get cold. Which Lane will not have to worry about because he will be in LSU. So it begs the question: What is something somebody could say to you as a man that would have you go out and be like I think spitting would be that line for me. You on the field, you can say whatever you want to say. Like, I know you're just trying to get a rise out of me.
Lawan used to do this thing where he would, how the long snapper for the Jags told Jeff to S his D this weekend. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah.
Lawan would go up to people and say, I'll S your D, and like throw them a bit in a blender. I wouldn't know how to respond. I think it's
do it then. Do it then. Do it then. I want you to do it then, Taylor. Do it then. Act like I'm a punk. I used to have a tactic in college. I mean, I've come a long way. Y'all really wouldn't think that I've come a long way, but I have. I used to be just the worst kind of person, like the agitator, the pot stirrer, the person that would bring the mess to you, if you will. And I was really bad about sucker punching dudes in college parties.
Okay.
And okay, sorry, I just saw your note.
Yep.
I will wrap it up.
Yep.
I used to be really bad about sucker punching dudes in college parties that would be starting fights with my other friends that I knew inevitably we were going to be in a fight, and I wanted a free one. But if I didn't think that we could win said fight, I would just get butt ass naked in this party with, like, not Project X, but like walls to walls people. And the only time that this ever did not work was at a fraternity of some sort, and they stomped the hell out of me naked. So much so that I was not covering my head, like trying not to get whooped my ass. I was covering my jewels because I did not want them to get stomped. Because if I was to fight someone at a college party and I saw that their little sack of coins was available, I would probably treat it like free grapes on the ground. But that's just me, and it didn't happen. So, yep, that is what we are allowed to say and what we're not allowed to say. And I probably already said too much. I don't know what statute of limitations on sucker punches are, but that's my time. Everyone have a great.
I agree. Have a great rest of your night. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 10 a.m.
He's a hoe, and I want that known.